may not be familiar with a coma, what precisely this means.
A coma means that he has very, very minimal brain function at this time. And what happens is that in cardiac arrest, if someone does not get help within minutes, really ideally within 3 to 5 minutes, they will, and they often do, the sort of the norm, if you will, is to lose brain function. So it would not be surprising if Mr. Jackson did not get help within minutes for him to actually suffer brain damage such as a coma.
Because, as we're saying, sources familiar with this condition, Elizabeth, are telling us he is in a coma right now. I assume that if someone suffers from cardiac arrest and doesn't get the proper treatment immediately, literally within a matter of a few minutes, that next stage, presumably, would be a coma.
That often is what happened. That's right, Wolf, because the heart stops functioning, so it's not getting oxygen to the brain. It's not getting the oxygen that the brain needs. And I want to say something also, because I've sort of heard people around me saying, wow, only 50 years old, how young. And I was just talking to a cardiologist who said, actually, this is not that young. For men, this is not that young. It is not uncommon for this to happen, and particularly with African-American men. Unfortunately, rates of cardiac diseases like this are more common for African-American men this age than for white men or for women.
We see a crowd that's developing outside UCLA Medical Center right now as word spreads around Los Angeles that Michael Jackson is in the hospital suffering from cardiac arrest, and we have now been told by sources familiar with this condition that he is in a coma right now. Elizabeth, people come out of comas, though, right?
You know, they do sometimes, but I would say, Wolf, that it is pretty unusual for someone to come out of a coma. Also considering, you have to consider what the coma is caused by. A coma that is caused by cardiac arrest means that it was caused by a loss of heart function. That is very serious. It means that the heart had stopped working for a period of time. We don't know how long. And of course, that's the key, is how long had he suffered a loss of heart function.
Stand by, Elizabeth. I'm going to get back to you, but I want to bring back Jim Moret right now. He's been covering Michael Jackson for many years, going back to his days as an anchor here on CNN. This latest information that we're getting, Jim, that he's in a coma right now does not bode well.
It doesn't. It's extremely disheartening, and we're watching the situation devolve in front of our eyes, and this latest news is frankly very troubling, and it doesn't bode well.
The whole notion of Michael Jackson in a coma, especially for all of us who literally grew up watching him perform, he started performing when he was only 5 years old, and when he was 10, he was a star, part of the Jackson 5. He's been part of all of our lives for so many years. It's just so hard to even think of this possibility that Michael Jackson suffered cardiac arrest and is now in a coma, literally struggling for his life.
Well, Wolf, you look at the aerials that you're showing on air, and you see the number of people that have already gathered outside the hospital. If that isn't testament to the star power of Michael Jackson, I don't know what is. I can tell you that at the trial up in Santa Barbara County, there was a crowd every single day for the 4 months of that trial, and I'm looking at your aerials right now, and you can see the throng of people, the crowd of people gathered outside just waiting for word to hear about Michael Jackson's condition. And to hear that he's in a coma is very disconcerting at this point.
And you were telling us just a while ago, Jim, that his 3 kids, aged 6, 11, and 12, are still in his custody, and presumably were with him in Los Angeles.
I have not heard anything otherwise. It was always what we'd heard. It was always his intention to keep and retain custody of those children. They were obviously very important to him, and he was legally their father, their guardian, and they were with him. I don't know if they were with him in Los Angeles today.